You are allowed to exist without explaining yourself. You are allowed to take up space even on the days that you feel unsure. You are not behind. You are not failing, and you are not invisible, even if it feels that way sometimes. You have been through moments that tried to convince you that you were weaker than you are. Moments that made you question your worth. Moments that might have drained you, confused you, made happiness feel like something that was meant for other people. But you are still here. And that alone says more about your strength than you give yourself credit for. You don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to force positivity. You don't need to pretend that you're okay when you're not. You are allowed to feel what you feel, and you can still believe in better days, even when you feel that. You are not defined by the worst thing that happened to you. You are not defined by the seasons where you struggled the most to survive. You're not defined by that. You are defined by the fact that you kept going, even when you were scared, even when you were tired, even when you doubted yourself, even when you just did not think that things were going to work out. You are learning to be gentle with yourself. You're learning to stop abandoning yourself just to keep the peace. And that is growth, even if it doesn't look dramatic. Even if people don't see it, you still are learning those important things to learn. Like, a lot of times people will want you to abandon yourself because they think that that's what you want. I saw a quote one time that said, if you smile while you're hurt, they can make you go away and say that you enjoyed it. So, all times are not always for abandoning yourself. Sometimes are learning how to not abandon yourself, and you will still have peace. That's real growth. You have to be gentle with yourself. Well, you can learn how to be gentle with yourself, because sometimes when we're taught by other people how to live, they're very like, why are you trying to learn from me? And even it could even be your parents that are doing that, and you could be like, I was trying to fit in, but y'all seem like y'all don't care about being gentle. So in those moments, that's when you are like, yeah, forget y'all. I'm just going to be peaceful to myself. And you may feel like you fell behind. You may feel like you lost time, but nothing about you is wasted. Every lesson, every pause, every restart is shaping you into someone wiser and more grounded. You're allowed to believe that happiness can still find you. Not a loud, perfect happiness, but a steady one. A happiness that lives in small wins, in quiet mornings, like living in such a busy world, cliche, a little cliche for us. Living in such a busy world, people can look at you with that hustle mindset in their eyes and like, how dare you relax? Like, And it's like, how dare you not relax? After all that work that you put in, and you choose to really not relax still. So sometimes being quiet is a blessing in itself. In the moments where you realize you're breathing a little easier than you used to. Yeah, some people just want you to run around with a chicken, like a chicken with your head cut off, and it's not conducive to the person who they want you to continue to show up to be. If you're always running around with it like a chicken with your head cut off, you don't know up from down, left from right. You have to have a second to bounce back, even when you think that you can't, even when maybe people notice, maybe they didn't notice, but sometimes you have to rebuild in silence. You'll bounce back again, because resilience lives within. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. I know it's easier said than done, because a lot of people who are they're just the type to scan other people to see if they're worth anything, and humans are inherently worthy. They're worthy. You don't need permission to start again. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to keep choosing yourself. You need to become someone who trusts their intuition, who trusts their instincts, who listens to their body, who knows when to push and when to rest. Someone who understands that progress doesn't have to be fast to be real. Some people want your progress to be fast, fast. And then you look at their life and it's just like, I see why you think progress is always fast. You don't sit there and rest. You don't sit there and build anything real. You just build off of other people. You're not late to life. You're right on time for the next chapter. And it's okay if that chapter begins quietly. Because a lot of people are so loud. A lot of people don't even want to hear that you started a new chapter. Most chapters do start quietly, because most people, when you're trying to begin your new chapter around them, they can just, try to sabotage. And it's like, well, let me just start this chapter quietly. You deserve joy that doesn't come with anxiety. Like, peace that doesn't feel temporary. Love that doesn't require you to shrink. A lot of people that want you to shrink for their love are shrinking for love in their own life, literally. And success doesn't cost you your well-being. Success that doesn't cost you your well-being. You're allowed to hope again. You're allowed to dream again. You're allowed to believe that things can improve, even if you don't know how yet. Even if you don't see it yet, you can still believe it. I know that sounds crazy and delusional, but it's better than believing that everything is falling apart and crumbling down. It's just better. You don't have to carry everything alone. You don't have to be strong all the time. You just have to show up as you are. You keep showing up as you are, then that's when you begin to bounce back. And it's not because life is easy, but it's because you are capable, because you keep choosing life even on the hard days. So, some people, like, they have this dramatic view of life. And when you are, like, a person who grinds quietly, some people can look at you like you're so dramatic. Like, they can be like, oh, you're just so dramatic. Everything you do, you're just so quiet. People really work my nerves with that. They really do. Because it's like, I'm not quiet. I'm just not loud. Like, sometimes people just want to grind in silence until there are larger steps that are just so large that they can't even hide it anymore. It's like, well, I was just trying to make some moves, just make moves. Like, you will come up. You You will get it done. Just keep believing.